Greetings and welcome to a Friday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is August 15th. PJ, how we doing?
Brendan, I'm doing good. 2 in a week. How about that?
Back in the big seat. How you feeling?
How about it?
How you feeling? Good reviews about your debut in the big chair?
I think so. I hope. I don't know. I didn't get too much feedback, but
I was on the ground at Caves Valley. All the fans were talking about it. There was just like a palpable buzz about PJ hosting or co-hosting on Wednesday.
Buzz in the air. I mean,
yeah.
it's very, very, very kind of the people of Baltimore after I took a shot at their Orioles. But, happy to be back.
Good. I'm glad. It's the dog days of August. There's really not a lot. I know July is considered the deadest sports month. August, though, seems to languish in terms of sports, right? There's no major championship there. We would be playing a PGA right now in prior years, or maybe it would have been last week, actually, now that I think about it. But I can't get into training camp like too intensely, or exhibition season, as I'll now call it, for the NFL. I just can't get into it. But where do you come down? I got a question for you.
Oh, boy.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course you can. It's your podcast.
Where are you? This seems like your kind of thing and your generation's thing. Where are you on the proliferation of Little League World Series nationally televised games?
Okay. This is a great question for me, actually, because one of my best friends from college is now doing some of these games as a play-by-play guy. So I've been getting updates from like Kansas, Iowa regional being like, this 12-year-old's just getting shelled. It's like 14-0 in the second inning. So ironically enough, I've watched more Little League World Series regional qualifying this year than maybe I ever have before.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were kids, like, we were super into it, watching on ESPN.
But it was
all
one
the time.
weekend.
No, it was a couple
you're
weeks.
Younger than I am.
It was a couple weeks. We were super, super into it when we were like around the same age. A team that we played against made it at one point. That was like a pretty big deal. But now it feels like every ESPN property. I was on ESPN Plus this morning to watch the PGA Tour live, and they had like Japan versus Curacao or something crazy on there. And I was like, what? These are like the prelims. We're not even at Williamsport yet.
Yeah, they're doing regionals. They're not doing Williamsport stuff anymore, but now they're getting to Williamsport now.
The Mets playing the Little League World Series game on Sunday night against the Mariners. It's going to be a disaster.
Where's that?
At Williamsport. They play it. They have like a 90-foot field. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Well, good for them. Good. I mean, it just seems like a lot.
Who's asking for it? Well, I guess if you're trying to fill the air.
There's not a lot in August, but no. I'm just telling you, get it out of here. Get it out of here. I want one game. I want the World Series and nothing more.
You're not even in on the U.S. final?
This is ridiculous. A U.S. final, fine.
You can
do the U.S. final and you can do the World Series. Get all this other bullshit off the television. They are teaching kids all the wrong lessons.
Oh, my God. Did you see the guy, the coach that was completely like clip farming?
Yes.
Oh, my God. Oh,
yes.
My God.
These kids all know they're on TV.
Awful.
They've got these bats that are like multicolor, just expensive. They've got 18 different pads. They're strapping on and off. Like, get out of here with all this stuff. And as someone who is totally in the youth sports vortex, like, this is the problem. It's not part of the problem. It is the problem. This kind of thing that we hold these examples out, and we hold like this televised product out where these kids have, $1,000 worth of equipment and they're doing all this bullshit before the cameras and showboating. Get it out of here. And this is the problem. Private equity sees like youth sports as just like this absolute raw meat, like a lion going for it. Apparently it's like a $40 billion business. You used to grow up. I'm the old man shouting at clouds now. But I'm telling you from the front lines right now, it is outrageous what is happening to youth sport. You used to be able to just play for your school or play for your neighborhood. And if you were one of the best kids from your neighborhood, maybe you'd get together with the best kids from the next neighborhood and play a little extra.
Yeah.
Like a few extra a month. That's it. But like my 8-year-old daughter made some lacrosse team. Like she's like fine athlete. I don't know. She's probably not very good if I had to guess, or I don't have any grand aspirations is what I'm going to say.
Sure.
She made some team. She had to sign a contract. I won't even go into the cost. It's a lot. It's not insane. She had to sign a contract to like be a part of, like, to commit to this program. She's 8. There was like an insurance policy we were offered for this. Like, what do you mean? What's the insurance policy? Like, she like tears her ACL, you get your money back. Or like, well, she's probably just going to quit. Does it cover that? Does it cover quitting? No, it doesn't. I don't want the insurance policy. And it's like you can't prioritize another sport if there's a conflict. She made the team, and when we were at Oakmont was when she made it. And the day they told us she made it, they're like, you have until tonight to accept your spot and pay your deposit. My wife told me, I'm not on the emails, thank God, but my wife told me this. I was like, forward me that email. I'm going to reply. And she's like, she knew better. Like, no, I don't want you doing that. You can't be. I was like, you tell them they will send a 6th warning before we will commit on their timeline and pay their deposit. Like that night, like you made the team, you have until, midnight tonight to spend your $400 deposit. This is the problem. And this isn't even extreme. I would say this is probably low end of the stuff that's going on with baseball, lacrosse. Yeah. I just think Little League, nobody asked for this, I guess, at the top of the show, but I'm going now that we're talking Little League. This is part of the problem. And you know what? Private equity, there was a New York Times article about it, sees it. And they are going, like, there's youth sports programs just trying to get bought out by probably just like dangling, like, strip teasing for private equity, essentially, just asking for numbers, bringing in bodies and kids playing year round. I think ESPN putting these kids on all day, every day is part of the problem. And it's like the problem.
You're not wrong. Where do you fall on the, as somebody on the front lines, as you said, where do you fall on the only playing one sport as like a 10-year-old?
It's the worst.
Yeah, okay.
It's terrible.
I think it's completely nonsense.
It's terrible. It's like, I've got, very personal examples I could tell you right now of like the kid who didn't grow and now he's spent his whole life doing, being a goalie in soccer, and now he's not growing. He can't be the goalie. Well, he didn't even try to play, like neighborhood rec, whatever, baseball, basketball, those kinds of things. Yeah, I think it's terrible. But a lot of these programs are like commit you to year-round soccer. Soccer's exceptionally bad. Yeah. Lacrosse is very bad around me with this sort of thing. And the parents, like, they're all idiots. Like, everybody wants to be Marv Marinovich or LeVar Ball. Like, everybody. I'm not. It's a race to the bottom. They're like, well, little Timmy's doing this training and little Johnny's doing this. And like, you're like, well, if Johnny's doing this, I think we probably got to get Billy in this. And like, they can't help themselves. And a lot of them aren't athletes. Like, the best ones are the ones, usually, sometimes they're psychos, are the people who like played college sports or play out, like they're like just chilling. And then it's like all the other parents are crazy. It's bad. It's like a race to the bottom. You cannot help yourself.
Well, and now you got these coaches on ESPN for the Little League World Series that call like mound visits and try to give like,
turn the
inch
microphone
by inch Al Pacino doing the inspirational speeches, trying to just go viral. That guy, they lost on like the next pitch. Great speech, dude. Way to go.
Yeah,
glad you got your aura farming out there. You lost the game. I would be pissed if I was one of those kids. I would be out of my mind.
Baseball's super bad. Baseball's very bad too. I'll lump that one in. It all started with AAU basketball, I would say. But then like that was local and then it became national. Now
AAU basketball at this point is like professional basketball.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. But the baseball thing, my kids like dabbled with travel. How they do the speakers and they walk up music. Have you seen this?
We had that for one game a year for the All-Star game. That was it.
Almost every team for every at bat has a roll-up speaker, and but the team my son was on, I was like, no, we're not doing that. Absolutely not. You want to be a jerk off and if you want to, 9-year-old baseball and walk up music, like this is the problem. I'm not suggesting
doing Nomar, just adjusting the batting gloves.
Well, that's
every
all
5
what's
seconds.
happening on this Little League World Series stuff. It's what's happening with their. How old are they? 12? Is that what they?
12U. Yeah, it's
I can't. I can't indulge it. Every time it's on the TV, I just want to immediately change it. Can't do it. It's the problem. I don't blame ESPN. I mean, I do blame ESPN for putting it on too much.
The proliferation of
it's way too much.
Little League World Series baseball.
What's not too much is our BMW scores. Those have been tamped down.
I was just going to say, this has actually been great.
The Summerlin model. Is the Summerlin model working at Caves Valley? It seems like a little bit of course changes, a little more slope to the greens. I heard Victor Hovland, your early leader. Oh, Jason Day has just jumped past him. He's got the orange circle with the flames. There's flames shooting across the leaderboard with Jason Day's 4 under through 15. Hovland was early there, but he talked about hey, there's a little bit more slope. No, we know there can't be too much slope per PGA Tour regs, rules and regs. You can't, but he's like, it's even breaking up around the hole when you've got a 4-footer or 5. So they've made it a little bit harder. It's firmer. We got some big rainstorm came in, so a long day. I was up there earlier. I think I'm going to go tomorrow. Take my kids, actually. Get back there. Hopefully it doesn't rain. They want to see, they're dying, just absolutely dying to see Taylor Pendrith. So I got to take them up there. No, I'm kidding.
Don't do that.
I'm kidding.
Don't do that to Pendy. That was a low blow. That was uncalled for. You could have thrown out YouTuber Tommy Fleetwood, who your kids actually are dying to see. You didn't have to take the low blow on Pendy. That was just mean.
They do. Yeah, when we were going to the senior PGA, all they asked, is Rory going to be there? Is Rory, Bryson, and then somehow Fleetwood made it into that troika of players they wanted to see. I said, they're not. PJ's going to be there. PJ Clark. But none of those three. But they're going to probably want to, I guess, follow Rory, Scottie. They know Scottie. So I think I may take them up to that. But it's playing better. Have you watched a lot?
I did watch a lot, and then I watched as a little tease. You and KVV go very in depth, but I'm glad everybody got 2 hours of 2021 playoff.
It's incredible.
It really was.
Yeah,
but this is scores are not out of hand, and it's entirely bunched up. If you're in it, you're at 2 under, and there's 15 guys around. I know it's only a 50-man field, but nobody has been able to separate, which means I hope the next 3 days at least will be fun.
I watched the first 4 or 5 hours on ESPN Plus. I gotta say, it's probably the most I've watched of ESPN, just because I got to know the course. I wanted to watch Scottie Rory early on. I have an increasing, not high, but increasing amount of Xander alarm. He looked very bad. He looked very bad with wedges. He looked very bad putting. He looked bad around the green. Now, this might have just been a bad day. Daniel Powder issue.
I'm not playing that.
Bad day. I know you're not going to do that one. I could count on you. But I have an increasing amount of Xander Larson. He's got everything to play for this week, right? He gets to Atlanta next week. He's zeroed out. Now he needed to go really low. But he just seems really, really off. He did try for this incredible drop at the 5th hole where he claimed he was on a seam, a sod seam. So that hole is interesting. New players moderately complaining about it. We're all just going to lay up. There's purportedly some enticement to go for it, but the green is crazy shallow with the dramatic fall off the back. And that's where Xander went. And he went down the back bank.
Yeah.
And, he's slamming away at it, his club. This is a sod seam. It's a sod seam, which would make grounded repair. I get relief. To the official's credit, who looked like a younger fella and was kind of hemming and hawing, just hearing him out, but working his way around to say no. For Xander, didn't call for a second opinion, so they're good on him for that. But kind of dude, they made it so it's essentially a driving iron and a sand wedge, and he airmailed the green with his wedge. He wasn't playing well. You hit it there, and you might have got a shit lie, and he popped it on the green. It wasn't like he popped it right back down into a gopher hole. It popped onto the green, but this was a lengthy debate. He's not playing well. I'm kind of worried about it going into. I guess we have a month until Ryder Cup, but I'm kind of worried about it.
It's I mean, he's in the signature events. He obviously has major exemptions. It's been a lost year as a whole, but if you're looking at it from a Ryder Cup perspective, not to jump ahead to the Ryder Cup, I know we're going to talk about that in a couple of seconds. Jumping ahead to the Ryder Cup and skipping the next 2 weeks.
We're not allowed to
do that.
Scottie.
If Xander's your 3 right now, this second, that's alarming. It is. I think it's certainly not where anybody expected to be, even this late. I mean, I thought he was going to round into form by like June once he kind of got his sea legs back under him, and it just kind of never happened.
Like he's laying up and he's missing the fairway when he lays the back. It just, I'm probably over-indexing on the 4 or 5 hours I watched where he seemed lost this morning, but he shot 74. I guess that's the one thing when they talk about, the Americans haven't been playing well this summer, and you look at the numbers, and more or less they have been much better than it feels like. But Xander's won. He's just not been the guy.
Well, also he had I mean, this has nothing to do with the play, but we got a funny Xander moment this morning when they announced Austin Kaiser on the first tee as his
What do you
caddy.
think of that?
Xander is cracking up. Couldn't believe what he was happening. So at least we got one positive Xander moment.
This has to do with what? Like the Evans Scholar
Yes.
Foundation, WGA, which, as a WGA area caddy myself, Andy as well. I'm a big fan. Maybe we can do it once a year. I'm okay with announcing the caddies. We're both Western Golf Association sort of region caddies, so I'm into it. Any other early takeaways from Baltimore? Xander was a big one for me. Scottie looked like it's so easy early on, just so easy.
Mm-hmm.
Then he missed like 4 greens in regulation in a row, and he's playing with Rory. Rory, I thought, was sloppy. Also got some tough breaks. Scottie has now jumped into a tie the lead 4 under. Kind of insane. Gets 3. It comes out of the rain delay. Birdies 3 of the last 4 holes. Right back in it. Bombed in a long one just now on 18. So he was early. I felt Rory got a bunch of bad breaks. I don't know if you're playing with the sheriff. That means you like the balance is out where you like all the crime comes into your district when you're playing alongside the sheriff. He got he was, some of these fairways can't and camber and all this stuff. And he got some bad bounces. Hit a flag stick, but he was sloppy, I thought too, Rory, early on.
I mean, the 2 standouts for me, Viktor Hovland, you're spinning the wheel, the high variance game on Viktor Hovland, and he's still saying post round that he doesn't feel comfortable. He's got 72 swing thoughts. He knows what he's looking for. He can't describe it, but when he finds it, he's going to figure it out. Paul Hadwanick said that he stayed for the 2-hour rain delay and then kept on practicing after, even though he finished before they went into the rain delay.
What's he doing? Just having transfusions? And he's like, I'm going to go out and roll a few. My round's over.
Yeah. Well, I just hanging out. Where else are you going to go? What else are you going to do? I don't know.
Just anything. Go to the hotel with your perfect practice putting mat or something. I don't know.
That's fair. But you're just getting the high variance. You never know what you're going to get at this point with Hovland, which is it has to be a struggle for him, who's used to playing at an elite level week in and week out. But I mean, guy got a win this year, like a pretty good field, and is now popping again in the playoffs, which we've seen from him before.
You may not know what you're going to get from Viktor Hovland, but you do know what you're going to get when you go to viore.com/SGS, and that's going to be 20% off your first purchase automatically. Yes, that's what you get. Hovland might be, week to week, day to day, hate his game, love his game, doesn't know what he's getting. But when you go to viore.com/SGS, you get 20% off. It's automatically applied. You don't have to, when you hit that URL, there's no promo code in the cart. It's Viore. I know I've had trouble with this. Vuori.
I think you got it.
It's Viore, VUORI.com. If you're not familiar with it, well, then you've been living under a rock for the last several years. It's one of the great athleisure brands in the world. They make some of the most comfortable and versatile clothing on the planet. They draw their inspiration from the coastal California lifestyle, make products that stand the test of time, and hope to inspire others to live vibrant, healthy lives. I'll tell you what, I hit the treadmill. I would walk and run outside normally, but I did treadmill because I thought I was going to watch golf today. I was locked into this ESPN Plus. You know what? While I'm consuming this, I might as well throw on the core short for that KORE. It started it all for Viore. It's fitness versatility. One short, every sport. You can do running, training, but it's also stylish and comfortable enough to wear all day. Breathable boxer brief liner. So it's the one piece fits all kind of thing. You don't have to buy box.
I was confused by that the first time I put them on. I had never dealt with the liner before. That threw me for a loop. I'll be honest.
Not to get too personal, but did you have boxers on and then you put the core short on?
I did. I had no idea what I was doing.
All right. Yeah, this is a thing now. It's not that new, but I'm surprised that's your first experience with that. But all right.
But I will say, I texted Abby immediately after we got.
Did you like the core short
stuff? The sweatpants, the joggers. I'm not a sweatpants person. I might be a sweatpants person.
You're using the wrong terminology. They're not sweatpants. They're joggers. Which one? The Sunday Performance jogger or Dream Knit jogger?
I think the Sunday Performance one.
Okay. That's the fresh take on athleisure. Dream Knit jogger is their softest jogger on the planet. I need to know who came up with the test for that. Like, who made sure that it's softest, the superlative, not softer, but the softest on the planet. Dream Knit jogger. Lightweight, relaxed, moisture wicking with 4-way performance, and then the core short. I had that rocking and rolling all day. It's great for summer, fall. That's the one that started it all. Go to viore.com/SGS. You get 20% off immediately. An incredible, incredible brand. We're happy to be partnering with here. Okay, what else do you have from Caves Valley?
Ben Griffin. Ben Griffin will not go away anytime.
Do you want him to go away?
No, I don't. But if there is any doubt left at this point, I think Ben Griffin has. I would hope he had locked up whatever he needed already. But man, I mean, this is a model of consistency going back to Florida. Literally, it feels like every week he's missed like 2 cuts since then.
I think the real clarity, and I'm not suggesting it was the trends weren't going this direction, but the absolute clarity we've received here in the last 10 days is Spieth is probably out and Ben Griffin is for sure on. It seemed like he was trending towards lock, but based on the top 10 in Memphis, and I don't want to over-index a day here, but it seems like that form is continuing. One other, Rickie. Is he going to be at Bethpage?
Can't rule him out.
He's playing well again. I don't know. He's got to go crazy low to get to Atlanta, but he had the lead.
I think he needs like a top 5 at minimum
to get to Atlanta.
But I mean, listen, should he be in this tournament? That is up for an argument. We've had that argument. That argument's been all over the internet for the last 5 days.
I saw the Wall Street Journal sort of ripped Lamagna's column from. Now we got the Wall Street Journal just taking takes.
Congrats to my fellow boy on that. But Rickie is making the most of the opportunity. You can't say
he's playing well.
Yeah. He's kind of come alive here, and it's nice to see. I know he's not going to be on the Ryder Cup team, but it's cool.
For tomorrow, would you rather have him or Morikawa? No, it's not tomorrow.
Kind of Rickie.
I'm putting you in a blender
tomorrow.
Here. I'm putting you on the spot.
Kind of Rickie.
Your head. Morikawa's even through 10, so I don't know I don't have a lot of faith in Rickie, or I don't have a lot of faith in Colin Xander right now.
Well,
but
and again,
a lot of time left
on the Euro side. A lot of time left, but
Scottie told us
there's again. I don't want to throw up any alarms with the sheriff here, but Harry Hall is still kind of loitering and gunning for that 12 spot. I feel like that maybe we haven't given enough credit to either.
I don't think they're going to give him. I don't think they're just going to give it to him. I think he's not part of he's not part of the team.
Boys club.
Yeah.
The lads club.
The lads club. That's good. Maybe they'll give it. They spend the best player for that 12th spot. So. I know Rasmus is doing well on the DP World Tour, but I mean, Come on, it's the Danish Golf Championship. This guy's in the top 50 on the PGA Tour at this point, and now in the top 15 again. He should get a spot, but it feels like they're going with the vets or the lads club.
Højgaard. Somebody who's been there before.
Yeah. Scottie is in the lead. He would be offended that we're talking about the Ryder Cup right now. I was there yesterday, and he was asked, I would say a few questions about the Ryder Cup. Keegan
as one
being
does.
A captain. Yeah. And he finally got to the one, like his fourth question. He's being interviewed by Carl right now as we record. She should ask him about how would these conditions compare to what you might face at Bethpage. She should. Everybody should ask him only Ryder Cup. So his response about asking, how will Bethpage compare to Rome? He goes, I love answering questions about the Ryder Cup, but this is ridiculous. We're at the BMW Championship. The Ryder Cup is over a month away. If you want to talk about this week, let's talk about this week. If not, I've got practice to do. I'm getting ready for a golf tournament. Look, you're the number one player in the world, man. Like, this is the deal. I'm sorry. You're playing for $20 million a week, and you're going to make $40 million this year.
I was going to say, you've already made $30 million. Yeah.
The Ryder Cup is the biggest event left in the season, and we are down to crunch time with the roster finalization. Like, it's not, I realize the actual matches are not for over a month, but the roster stuff is in the final throes.
So where do you think the line is for him? Like, we show up to Napa and he gets asked a couple questions. Is he going to be like, I'm here to talk about the Pro Core?
It'd be like going to, it'd be like going to, like asking a GM at a pro day about, the draft or something. Him getting upset about, well, I'm just here to talk about the instant pro day. I get it.
It all ties together. This is part of the problem. I know you said this the other day that the FedEx Cup playoffs is as a vehicle for Ryder Cup conversation. You tweeted this the other day.
It's a problem, I guess.
It's not good for the PGA Tour.
Well, they're just going to buy the Ryder Cup then. Who knows? We'll get some of that capital.
If Don lets him. But I
don't think Don's going to have to say one way or another.
But this is just means to an end at this point, especially in literally the week where things start to become final. Yeah, Scottie's had a spot locked up for 2 months, but the rest of it is happening this week.
It's just part of the deal. You're the number one player in the world. I'm sorry no one wants to talk to you about Caves Valley right now. Like, they're really interested in these final spots, and you have this insane once-in-a-lifetime possibility of a playing captain, and that's a primary story here. It makes me wonder, Scottie wasn't really the guy yet when all the LIV stuff started popping off, but if he were in the place he is now, and then it was kind of Rory had to answer for everything, right? Whether Rory was, Rory having a good year or not having a good year, it was like he had to speak for everything. I don't know. It just kind of comes with the place in the game, and to just, you're going to get a bunch of dumb, bad questions. But I think to lose your patience about Ryder Cup stuff felt he just didn't want to answer. He's like, I don't know. I'm done.
It's kind of weird to not take, I don't know if it's not a leadership role or if that's the right way to phrase it, but as the number one player in the world, like I feel like you have to command the room a little bit on a Ryder Cup team. Certainly Rory does for the Europeans, and Scottie would be the answer to that on the American side. And I think if anybody is gonna, Patrick Cantlay, you can't go ask the stalwart because we don't even know if he's going to be on the team. So yeah, the buck gets passed to you, dude. That's how this works.
I think Cantlay's going to be on the team.
I agree. I think he should be, but we don't know that.
I'm hearing more and more that is the direction that things are likely going to go and should go, quite honestly. Probably. But I don't know. Sorry. Scottie's been great at the mic. I just thought that was a overdramatically pissy reply about a handful because the Ryder Cup is the deal. We'll talk about the BMW.
You want to talk about more Ryder Cup questions?
Sure.
I could ask.
What do you have? What do you have? You want me to go and ask him a bunch tomorrow?
No, Rory and Keegan just kind of subtweeting back and forth at each other in press conferences yesterday. I got a good kick out of that.
I didn't. Yeah, I thought Rory being like. We're giving him sort of the left jab with the right cross, like sick. A left jab and a right cross. Like, well, I do think he's one of the 12 best Americans. He should play, but I don't think you can captain and play. Like, both, he's just throwing it all out there. It was kind of a good little maneuver by Rory.
He's got him in the corner.
Did I paraphrase that correctly? Right? I mean, essentially, that's what he said.
Well, he got asked if he thinks there can be a playing captain, and he said. No, I don't think you can do it. And he said that he's been approached to do it in sometime soon.
Presumably
next time.
Yeah.
And he said, no, I refused immediately, like complete non-starter. Didn't seem interested at all. He said no. And then at the same time, same press conference, said, I think Keegan's one of the 12 best Americans. Should be on the team.
That is the... In any year, if Keegan Bradley didn't have captain next to his name, you just looked at his resume, you're like, he's on the team.
I don't know if it's a. I think I would. I would start to be critical, given that he hasn't done anything since Travelers. But I think he would still be in the same 10 through 15 area.
What was Keegan's reply? He doesn't know.
He went on this whole diatribe about how he's a guy that has asked for advice.
He was very measured, Keegan. I just want to be clear. Keegan was not worked up about it.
No, but he's a guy that asks for advice, and he's asked advice about, what to do when you're in a final pairing, or when do you play practice rounds, or how do you scout a golf course? And he's like, nobody has advice on this. I can't ask anybody. I don't know what to do. I love my vice captains. I'm going to lean on them more than anybody in the history of the Ryder Cup. And who's to say I can't do it? We don't know the answer. It could be anybody. We're all trying to find the guy who did this.
We're all. You love throwing out what's that show? I think you should leave.
Yeah, I hit you with one the other night that
I guess went right over my, what was it?
We were trying to figure out a way to make money off of this for. I forget what we were even talking about at the end there, but.
Is that your little bit, your little game you're playing while you're in the big chair? How many of these
not intentionally
can you get out?
They keep happening.
All right. Nothing else from Caves, I don't think. Good first round action.
You have no take on Keegan just throwing it to completely punting on I can't ask Arnold Palmer about being a playing captain because he's dead?
I have no take on it. I think he's in a very tough spot. I feel bad for him. He can't play.
Well, I don't feel bad because this was completely avoidable and you just didn't have to do what you did. So he
got called in yesterday and I wonder what you're going to ask me about. Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. Everyone's like, well, here comes Keegan, and Justin Rose was getting off the dais as he was like, oh, well, that'll be a fun one. Everybody knows you've made this the elephant in the room. You brought it in like a Barnum circus or whatever it is, Barnum and Bailey, and you brought the elephant into the room.
It was just about a year. It was last August. He gets up at the New York Stock Exchange and says, if I make the team, I'll play. Guess what, dude? Even if you win the BMW, you're not making it. Sorry. And now here we are a year later, and he's not going to make the team, and he's still going to play or have these questions hanging over his head when all he had to do was stick to the company line that we said a year ago.
Fodder for us. So, yeah, it was good stuff. I don't have a lot of criticism, honestly. I feel for him. I feel bad for him. Maybe you don't. It'll be just absolute content bonanza in New York, though, if he is.
I was on boots on the ground yesterday at Bethpage. I got to the.
How was that?
I got to the sources. Walking the streets. Did some man on the street interviews. People in the parking lot. People want Keegan to play.
Of course,
sat there.
That doesn't
bit my
tell
tongue.
me anything. That doesn't tell me.
Just saying, the Pulse of the People award winner Keegan Bradley.
Pulse of Long Islanders. Oh, great! That's like sending a poll to your own followers. Do you think NBC coverage is up to snuff? Yes or no? Like, what do you think Twitter's going to say? All right. That's good for you. I'm glad you're getting that on the ground. It sounds like they're not going to do a scout or reconnaissance mission to Bethpage as a team. They may individually drop in, but it didn't sound like that was happening.
No, it's wine country. Go on vacation.
Someone who may have had a little too much wine when they went on something, the Golf Supply YouTube channel, I'm unfamiliar with this, is Gary Player. He had some takes that got aggregated on someone who's not at the BMW, Jordan Spieth. So Jordan Spieth, I think, is the best golfer in the world. Okay, we're just going.
Starting off hot.
But in my opinion, he was taught the wrong thing. Gary didn't really elaborate on what that thing was.
No.
He just said wrong thing. And he just went downhill. He went downhill. If you had a man like Ben Hogan's dead, Gary, teaching Jordan Spieth, he would be the best in the world. He's such a competitor. He's such a wonderful man, a wonderful guy for golf, the best short game, the best course management, but he just can't hit the ball. That is a tragedy. I feel like being able to hit the ball is a part of an essential part of the game. Important.
I don't know how you can manage the course if you can't hit the ball.
So he needs Ben Hogan. He's been taught the wrong thing. Not a lot of specifics, but it called it a tragedy. I feel like that's a little, too far. A little dramatic, over dramatic use of the word tragedy. But that's the take of the day. Was Gary Player?
Oh yeah,
on Jordan Spieth.
It's the best player in the world. He can't do anything.
He would be the best player in the world. He just can't hit the ball. That's like saying, Anyways, I don't want to make it inappropriate, but yes.
Yeah,
he could be the best in the world if he could hit the ball. That's Gary Player. Take of the day. LIV Chicago. We didn't get to that on Wednesday. Or LIV Indianapolis, I apologize. Biggest sporting event in Indianapolis, the history of Indianapolis. Never had a Super Bowl, draft combine, Final Four. This is the biggest. They are going to have their biggest crowd ever, I would imagine. And this is part of the deal with the Western Open just abdicating the Midwest this year, at least. Chicago had big crowds. You're going to have big crowds in Indy. It's the final individual championship. 60% chance it's going to be Neiman and 40% chance it's going to be Rahm. And that's it. There's more of a race for third, which is also in the money. But Neiman could finish totally outside the points. Rahm still has to finish top 7. Might be actually closer to like a 70% chance that he's going to win the individual champ. So I wouldn't say there's like a ton of drama in terms of the final individual title, season-long title. You do have a little bit of the, lock, relegation zone, open zone. The relegation zone is 48th and below or 49th and below, which I'm just going to say you really got to suck to be beyond 48 and live this year. You have to be pretty bad. And because it's not deep. And once you get past the top 15 or so, it's all kind of the same bowl of gruel.
Ironically, I guess I kind of just memory hold a lot of the beginning of the year. But when I pulled up the stats, Tyrrell Hatton has done basically nothing on LIV this year. He's like right outside of like the flex. So he's like 25th or something.
Interesting.
Like
He is 25th. Yeah. In the relegation zone is Mito Pereira, which holy cow, is he just fallen off a cliff since he got electrocuted on Southern Hills 18th hole. Andy Ogletree, which is just could see that coming. Ian Poulter, whose son just lost, sadly, at Olympic as well, lost to Niall Donegan, I believe. Eubin Jane, Anthony Kim, and Freddie Ketchup. Those guys are on the outside looking in right now. On the bubble is Chi-Po Lee, Brendan Steele, Lee Westwood, and Henrik Stenson. So you have 3 magic sticks, either outside looking in or on the bubble for relegation. Just
Westy,
it's travesty.
It's time to come home to the senior majors for Westy. I think it's time. It's he can get one, and then he can get more major starts due to winning one. Andy won't give up on the dream. It'll make for more storyline graphics, but Westy, I think it's time to come home.
I guess I just don't understand. Like, can Ian Poulter be relegated? He's a captain.
Allegedly,
is his
yes.
Contract out? Okay.
They keep saying that they're playing hard line on relegation. Don't care who you are. But I believe, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Yuban Jang has a guaranteed contract. Freddie Keshup, I assume, probably has a guaranteed contract.
Well, it might be more. It might have been a 1-year thing. I don't know. The Cleeks, I don't know. God, the Cleeks are struggling. They're only ahead of the Magic, Sticks, and Ironheads. So you have the lock zone, then you have the open zone, which means you will get a contract, or you are not under obligation to get a contract, right? Whereas the lock zone is you get a guaranteed contract. Whereas the open zone, you're coming back. You don't have necessarily a guaranteed contract with your team from the prior year.
Yes, you can get traded. Yeah,
and that's basically 25 to 48, and that's just a whole mix of people in that run.
And Tyrrell Hatton. Somehow.
This is the final individual. Yeah, Tyrrell Hatton's right there on the bubble. This is the final individual event. Probably get some good crowds. I don't know about the ratings. The ratings they're putting on a big Fox, and they kind of still are just languishing, and they're seeding for next week, but Legion 13 has that already locked up, at least the number 1 seed. So there's, can be some movement in the midfield there. But that's your Indianapolis LIV preview. That'll be on, I don't even know what it's on, FS1 or FS Big Fox this week. They don't list their TV schedule very clearly on some of this. So
it was on Big Fox last weekend.
Yeah, so it was last week. Shotguns, I would imagine. Shotguns start at noon. 12:05 on Friday, or 1:05 Eastern, and then 12:05 on Saturday, and 10:05 or 11:05 Eastern on Sunday. So let's assume they're going on Big Fox to get done early. That's your LIV Chicago preview. Not a lot of drama yet. At the USAM, juniors having a run. Mason Howell getting through. The Georgia junior. Miles Russell getting through. Might have a Walker Cup spot ahead of him coming. The big shocker is Jimmy Abdo, this kid from Minnesota, who's in the 4,000th of the Wagger ranking, goes to Gustavus Adolphus. I got some unsubstantiated rumors about him. He's beaten up on these highly touted amateurs. He's now in the round of 16. He's ahead of Daniel Zvard, who's goes to Northwestern, just took out Andrew Bailey, sadly, a Clevelander and former Fried Egg contributor. Abdo, apparently the Gustavus Adolphus team does this thing called the case, which you can imagine is drink a case of beer in a day. And apparently Abdo is the only guy who's been able to do it lately, which... he's 4,000 in the Wagger.
So you're telling me if he wins, this could be an all-time celebration.
He's the only golfer in recent memory to complete this task. And by recent, I'm going back to the late, great Ross Nelson, class of 94, is what I'm told, from an unsubstantiated. So is it that hard to drink a case of beer in a day?
It's a lot of liquid.
I'm asking the wrong person.
No, I can't really help on this. I would be no help, actually.
But Jimmy Abdo, that's your intel on Jimmy Abdo. He's barnstorming. But you have Mason Howell is losing currently. Andy's got to be just distraught. He's not here to talk about Max Herendeen, Illinois zone. The kid from Washington wasn't very highly touted, but has come in, has just gotten really good at Illinois. Takes out Jackson Coyven, number 1 amateur in the world, in the round of 32. Now he's up on Mason Howell as we record here in the round of 16. John Daly the second through. Miles Russell's through.
John still hanging on.
But yeah, some guys have gotten knocked out. Number 1, Preston Stout playing Niall Shields Donegan. So some good action out at Olympic. The juniors, as we've seen, Colton got knocked out in match play, but Russell's in there. Howell's in there. It's been a good run. For the youngest.
Russell is getting after it.
He beat Billy Davis. That was like sort of the preschool juniors division. Little Jim division, but he beat him. Billy Davis and Miles Russell. So That's your USAM check-in. That's going on right now. The round of 16 is ongoing. It'll be primetime golf on Thursday. On the KFT, got a little insight.
Oh boy.
I mean, there were like multiple 58 watches going on out of Boise. From one of them was Dalton Ward. Got some insight on Dalton Ward. He finished 9 under. He went to Tri-County Technical College. Do you know where that is?
No.
That's a New Yorker. You might think it's up by you. Tri-County Technical College is in South Carolina.
Okay,
And
I would have guessed
leading.
it was up here. So
their most famous alum is a serial killer. The acceptance rate, he's just in your face. Their acceptance rate is 100%. And he's made 3 cuts and $26,000 this year for Dalton Ward. Guy posted 62, leads the Boise Open, Albertson's Boise Open, one of the last regular season events on the KFT at Hillcrest out there.
How I don't really
the
know the way to
serial killer's
say
your most
this.
famous alum. That's tough.
I was just gonna say, how prolific of a serial killer? If he wins the Boise Open, would he jump said serial killer? Or I don't know.
Tri-County Technical College. It is pretty much like looks down the road from Clemson in South Carolina, like very close to Clemson. So
there's not a lot going on down there.
Well, I mean, there is if you're go to Clemson. Clemson sounds lovely, but I don't know enough about Tri-County Technical College. You're kind of like in the neighborhood, but the worst house on the block. I don't know. And your serial killer is the most famous alum. But Dalton Ward's setting out to change that with this 62 at the
So
Boise
you'd think
Open.
he'd do it?
No. No. I don't. He's got to put a few more 62s up on the board before we pass the serial killer. But I'm learning more and more about Tri-County Technical College. I'll get in the weeds.
I can't wait for somebody to reach out from Tri-County Technical College.
ADDC also shot a 63. Neil Shipley, who's officially tour bound, has his card, shot a 63. Julian Suri shot a 63. Just absolute KFT bonanza going out there in Boise. That's all I got. Anything else I'm missing for this Friday episode?
Jason Day just went into the water
I'm
up
looking
by the
at
babbling brook. So we got a nice little drop.
I'm excited for BMW. I'm not just speaking as someone who's local and going to it, but if the greens are firmer, more contour, and I don't want it to be an example of let's just make shit really long and only par 70. Like that would be bad. That would be a piss poor example because we know what the pros did to this in 21, and they went crazy low. It was just lowest scoring round, final scoring round average ever in the history of the Western Open, which is 100+ years. Lowest of the season on the PGA Tour. That includes Palm Beach, the Palm Desert event. So all sorts of stuff. But it seems to be playing much differently. I don't know if it's better, but it's been more entertaining today.
It has been very entertaining today. The bunched leaderboard has been welcome and I think it's hard not to have names in a 50-man field, but it feels like Tommy Fleetwood has found himself back in the mix. So that's all we're rooting for really, at the end of the day anyway.
Of course. You just don't want it to become a model of like, let's just make it par 70. And that's how you improve things. But one way you can improve things, specifically your golf game, is going to clubchampion.com using that promo code Fried Egg. You get a free iron fitting or free driver or iron fitting with a club purchase when you go to clubchampion.com/fried egg. They have 5,000 5-star reviews. The last third-party study found that 7 out of 8 golfers lowered their handicap by an average of 5 strokes. Seems like a lot after just one season with fitted clubs. On average, Club Champions customers see 21+ yards off the tee increase, 16 yards better dispersion with irons, measurably more fairways and regulation and greens and regulation, and fewer 3 putts. Every Club Champion built club comes with a perfect fit guarantee that ensures what you saw in the bay is what you'll see on the course. You go to clubchampion.com/fried egg. That's clubchampion.com/fried egg. Use the promo code Fried Egg. You get a free driver or iron fitting with a club purchase at Club Champion. They've been a great support of ours for a few years now, really helping us to do the podcast the way we want to do it and travel, get out on the road. Who just hit in the water? Someone just splashed down over there. We're going to kick it to KVV. We had him on Wednesday. He wrote the article, I would say, of record following that 2021 content bonanza, that playoff between Patty
It was
Ice,
amazing watching it again today. It was just great. There was so much going on.
I reread Kevin's column. I watched the highlights, essentially all the playoff holes, and then they played it during the rain delay. It was amazing. It was an amazing snapshot in time. And we'll listen to Kevin talk about it. He's from Baltimore. He was working for ESPN at the time, did a great final column, when Bryson was sort of the villain, which is hard to contemplate right now here in 2025. But he came on, was gracious with this time on Wednesday, running it today as a Flashback Friday. Really fun discussion with him on that day, and obviously writing the story on Bryson and how far he's come along. Let's kick it to that. Okay, we now welcome in the great Kevin Van Valkenburg, Baltimore's own. Tommy Fleetwood is at the Orioles game as we just recorded this. I know your Orioles are decrepit and down. Is that your baseball team? Is that your official baseball team?
Yeah, I kind of think so. I mean, listen, deep down, I was a Red Sox fan growing up, but I feel like that kind of marks you as being an asshole if you're like a Red Sox fan forever. So I think it's much more honorable to adopt the hometown team. I've made certain that my daughters are grown up Orioles fans. So they're always asking me about, various players. They were like, I can't believe they traded away all their good players, Dad. I was like, let me tell you about the economics of baseball, girls. This is the reality of if you're not in it, you're fire sailing it to the end.
Well, you got PJ there on the other end of the just robbing everybody else's team to just with Uncle Steve Cohen just paying everybody off.
We thought we were getting our own billionaire, but he's kind of turns out to be like, I'm not really into selling that much of my own money to make this team work. There's the really evil billionaires who are like, I'll do anything to win, and then there's the normal billionaires who are like, yeah, I didn't get to be a billionaire by just burning money on shitty middle relief. You got
rid of the fail son, the Angelos kid, right? And then you brought in Rubenstein, and they're sort of waiting on him.
I'm still optimistic.
It's better. It's better. But you're a Baltimore. Is it Baltimorean? Is that what they call
Baltimorean?
it? Yeah, denizen. Through and through, not native, but you have been there for a few
25
decades.
years. Okay. 25 years.
I was going to say at least 2 decades. Longer. As long as the Ravens? No, did the Ravens predate you?
The Ravens are 1996. That was when they first came. So
I should remember that. Those ones are fresh. That stolen franchise.
You weren't throwing beer cans at Art Modell on the way out of town?
I was ripping the seats out of their moorings and throwing them on the field with my fellow dog pounders as a 14-year-old.
Those seats are probably a collector's item.
Oh, they are.
I know. Have one of those seats.
I know a lot of people in Cleveland that have them in their basement, and it's this big thing, this trophy. This is what our Modell took from us. Anyways, but you were Baltimore. You were there at Caves Valley in 2021 when Bryson and Patrick Cantlay went to extra holes. I was there with you. Honestly, you've covered a lot of golf tournaments. You covered, I would say, probably mostly majors like me, it was one of the great ones, and it provided a lot of interesting background and context for where the world of golf might go. But all I remember about that, it was, Caves Valley got carved up and they've spent however many millions of dollars trying to make it harder for this iteration. But all I remember was, God, that was one of the most exciting in live wire events I've been to. And this was what you would want if you're the PGA Tour in terms of playoff atmosphere.
Yeah, Bryson almost shot 59. I think he lipped out putt on 18. And he was, if you remember, he was not talking to the print media at that time. He was very angry with how he had been accurately quoted about the vaccine stuff. So then
I
he was leaving the vaccine. He wanted to make sure that others got the vaccine first.
That's right.
So he wasn't going to take it. And he felt like he was sort of like Jedi mind tricked a little bit into giving these controversial answers. It was really the summer of Bryson just taking arrows and trying to kind of lean into, all right, I'll play the villain. Like, you guys don't love me, I'm going to play the villain. And so remember, that was the same kind of year that the infamous tape leaked with Todd Lewis interviewing Brooks, and he's rolling his eyes as Bryson goes behind him. And so it was just everyone was kind of nuking Bryson, and it hasn't happened. It became kind of like a pardon my take kind of bit where people were calling Bryson Brooksy, and Brooks said, if anybody does that, like, maybe I'll give him a case of beer or something.
He tweeted it or something, like
Miller
High Life Miller Ultra.
And so then
Ultra. Yeah.
The Barstool guys kind of ran with it, and then it just sort of mushroomed into this kind of chaotic thing. And so, like, it's kind of like this great snapshot of, as you said, of that era, because like this good golf is going on, right? Bryson's like almost shooting 59. Patrick Cantlay's playing great. Like, guys are just throwing darts. Like, Caves Valley is like just a total pillow fight in terms of fighting back. The fairways widen at like 310 yards. So all the players who can hit it far are just wailing on the ball. And I was kind of back in golf for the first time in a little while. I had been, doing football, and ESPN kind of asked me, like, hey, it's your home event. Can you step in and do this? The regular beat writer was detained somewhere. And so I was like, sure. Like, and one of the things I remember the most about it is, we were trying to like think of like, what's a good story angle for this week? And I was kind of like, well, why aren't the playoffs like harder? Like, the playoffs are like the easiest part of the schedule. Like, everybody's just kind of relaxing into this or whatever.
You asked Rory that question, didn't you?
Yes.
On Thursday after the first round. That was you.
I asked Rory about it.
Okay.
Yes, I asked Rory about it. He gave this very thoughtful quote. I want to say that was like on Tuesday, and I hadn't quite written the story yet. So on Wednesday, I was back, and I was just kind of hanging around the microphone, whatever. And Rory was talking again, or whatever. And someone like was going to ask a question, and then like turned to me and was like, "Oh, you go first." And I didn't have a question at all. I was totally like caught off guard, and I was like, Rory, can we just like follow up a little bit and then revisit this? And Rory didn't know who I was at all. Like, we had no kind of relationship. And I remember he was like, you're really digging into this. Like, you really got like a doggone bone with this whole playoff harder thing. And I was like kind of mortified. I was like, I know. It's a terrible question. I choked. I got to the mic and I just choked, man.
I forgot about the digging into this. You're like a dog with the
you're
bone.
really digging in on this.
Well, he was like, look, we need these are an entertainment product. We need them to be easier and all that. But yeah, the guys were going nuts, going 27 under. I forgot you asked him that twice, essentially. You were back, and I would say you were there with me. We were there on early in the week. I don't know if it was Thursday, Friday, one of the earlier rounds. By the end of the week, I would say what we watched, we were both. I knew I had to get home, and of course, we recorded that horrendous podcast from each of our cars.
One of the greatest podcasts of all time. That some would say in the canon of Shotgun Star podcasts. Yes.
I got to get home, and it's like, holy shit, this playoff will not end. But it was incredible theater, one of the great ones. And by Sunday night, I'd say, like, you wrote like the definitive column. I don't want to fluff you up too much, but that was like a great, great column. Some of it was, I would say, very unique. Color that only you got based on Bryson, your following and tracking of Bryson after the cameras had turned off and after the playoff had ended. But we were there on the ground early in the week, and we sort of got an up close experience with the Brooksy phenomenon that would really sort of characterize the rest of the weekend. What did we see up close? I think it was a 7th or 8th hole at Caves Valley.
So there was all this controversy. NBC was kind of acting like state media at the time. They were like Korean state media. It was like they would not like let you know what was actually happening on the ground. And so you and I were like seeing like all these people like, Brooksy, what's up, Brooksy? Yeah. And NBC was like, there's actually not a lot of that going on. It's just like Bryson. A few. Yeah, there's a huge Bryson support out there. And we were kind of looking at each other like, this is insane. Like, what is going on? And so at one point, 7th or 8th hole, like he starts yelling at, hey, what's up, Brooksy? And Roger Maltby was marching over to the rope line, and it was like, you shut the up. You shut the fuck up. You just shut your mouth right now.
I remember this so well. He
You
thought
and
it
I
was you that yelled. He thought it was
did think it was me
KVV
briefly.
that yelled Brooksy. He looked in your eyes.
And I was like looking over my shoulder, being like, what? Like, no, fuck you, Roger Pompey.
That's the angriest and quickest I've seen him move.
Yeah.
Like he went right at you. He might have had a cigarette and one, down at the down dangling by his thigh. And he went nuts.
Yeah, he did figure out it was not me at some point and looked kind of over my shoulder at whoever the offending person was. But yeah, I will always remember that. And I was like, should I tweet this? And you were like, yeah, I think, yeah, why not? So it was one of those like, I've never seen Roger since. Like I'm sure didn't know that I sort of outed him in that sense, but I felt kind of like, Roger's been around the game for so long. He's such a good guy. Like, do I really want to like air him out like this? So it's like, well, he did like do it in front of hundreds of people. Yeah. So I guess I kind of have to kind of be a reporter here.
The last confrontation since he got into with Padraig Harrington this year at the Senior Open. Right. That's probably he hasn't had a moment like that since this year.
I watched Spieth at JT MF Roger one time for like putting him like it was at the Ryder Cup. It was like after a thing, and like Jordan was like, "Why did you ask me that, Roger? Like, why are you trying to embarrass me like that?" I was like,
really?
Yeah, it was. So Roger prickle a little bit here.
What
and
are they supposed to like? Just throw you softballs the whole time?
I think that's what they would like.
The Brooksy thing that we saw, that was early in the week. I cannot overstate how much we heard this like probably with every step that Bryson took. And it was a great big crowd and vocal, and I mean even for Sunday night liquored up by that point. And I just feels like it could have been 10 years ago when you think about the poll, like how much this has changed. You and I were at Pinehurst. Were you at Pinehurst last year? You were at Pinehurst, right? No, yeah, you're at Pinehurst. Like, and just to think about the dichotomy of that crowd where they're, and there's a political element and they're chanting USA, and he's like, and he, is the only LIV guy that's totally beat like all the charges or all the rap or whatever you want. Like those LIV guys, some of them became polarizing. Phil among them, maybe, but he is like only increased in popularity. And to think about where we were with this 21 Caves BMW, I would say it was the most heated and contentious moment in Bryson being sort of like the fans like loving to poke him and like truly disliking him, to where we were last year at Pinehurst and continue to be with Bryson.
Yeah. And like making Patrick Cantlay the hero like in bizarre. The sort of as contrast, like people's chanting like Patty Ice, like the idea that like a dial tone like Patrick Cantlay would somehow be the galvanizing figure of the Baltimore golf crowd is still a little bit strange to me. It was a weird week in some ways because like I was like, I actually talked to Brooks earlier in the week. I was like, hey, nobody's going to ask Brooks this question. Like, I guess I'll talk to him. And I was like, are you still going to continue this like feud with, and he had said something to Sports Illustrated maybe about it. I was like, I just wanted to kind of like confirm, or no, Steve Stricker had said something to Sports Illustrated about it, but no one had asked Brooks about it. So I asked Amanda Harrington of the PGA Tour. I was like, I need to talk to Brooks. Like, and Brooks kind of like walked over and was like, what do you want to talk about? And I was like, well, are you still like feuding with Bryson? And he was like, yeah, bro. Like, I put it to bed for like now, just because Strick asked me to. So, so it's not going to be a big deal. But it was like kind of watching someone get bullied in real time. I equated it, Brendan, like a little bit to like golf's version of like Gamergate, where like all these people were basically like conducting this harassment campaign against Bryson. But what really was it? You're like, oh, is it like rude to say someone else's name, to call like someone else? It's like if I was like kept calling PJ like Teddy, like would that be like harassment? Like would it was just it was such a bizarro thing. But that's kind of like how the Gamergate thing worked. It was like I'm not harassing you. I'm just like favoriting every single tweet they've ever had to make you fear for your own safety. And so it was like a weird like cultural thing that was kind of buzzing and going on at that time. And it just all kind of came to head with Bryson being this. And some people were like, oh, they don't like him because he's like anti-vax. And I was like, no, it's actually like way dumber than that. It's actually
Brooks.
like that. It's Brooks, like the Barstool sort of bit that's going on here.
Yeah, and Brooks, I mean, like, he instigated it. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, he's like a beer if you get thrown out for shouting Brooks, because they were throwing people out, allegedly. There was like PGA Tour security or something was throwing people out for shouting Brooks. And he was like, I'll give you a case of beer if you get thrown out. It was an incredible snapshot in time to think about where Bryson is now.
Okay, this is I just want to jump in here. I have something to reveal. I went back in the archives and I found it. At this point in 2021, I had just graduated from college, and I made a meme that apparently Brooks liked on Twitter, and I received one of these Michelob Ultra cases.
No way! Come on!
Wow!
What?
Swear on my life.
Center of the main shit right here. It's all things are connected.
PJ's like Forrest Gump of these like moments of golf, reaching out into various like
I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna dig up the DM on Twitter that I have from Michelob Ultra, but I swear to God, I received one of these.
Are you
cases.
kidding me?
Wow.
No,
what was the meme?
I have to go back and find it. I don't remember what it was, but I did partake in this. I was a reward actually of this.
PJ doesn't even drink beer.
Did you drink the Ultra, or did it sit as a shrine in your house?
It went to use, but not by me, but it did go to
use. So you got Bryson, like he still wouldn't talk to. He would talk to TV, right? If I'm not mistaken.
He would talk to Kira Dixon, I believe, was the only person that he would do. Like he would do like a little 2-minute Golf Channel bit, and that was it. Maybe Dana won here, but one time.
And you caught him getting heckled one last time, going to the scoring or locker room or whatever.
So years ago, I would say when I was first started covering golf, Dan Wetzlow, who now works for ESPN, was like a great writer at Yahoo for a long time. We had beers at the Masters one year, and he was like, the way to cover golf is just like the only like good shit happens is like when they leave the course. Like follow them for as long as you possibly can. And I always kind of took that advice to heart. Like a lot of really honest stuff happens like once they're away from the cameras. And I was like, all right, well, Patrick Cantlay is not the story to me as like a columnist here. Sorry, but I just didn't care. Bryson was the story one way or another.
I think that's still by Cantlay, just to give him I think that's his biggest win of his career.
I think it is.
He's won a couple of memorials, but like given the circumstances, the time, the Bryson, I think that's probably his best win. Okay, sorry. He was the story in that regard, but Bryson, the antagonism of Bryson and Bryson, the character, was far, far more interesting.
I just kind of was curious, like if he was, Bryson, he was obviously he's very competitive, obviously, and he was pretty crushed by what had happened. He wanted to sort of have this triumphant moment. He had shot, almost 59 earlier in the week. And so I just followed him like up, as anyone's allowed to do as a media member. And once he got he handed some kid like his hat or a ball or something, and he went up the hill. And you have the Caves Valley. If you've ever been there, it's like a hike up the hill. There's a reason that none of the members actually like walk the course. They're all like in carts. And he was marching up the hill, and there was still like a section where the fans could kind of like interact with people. And some like chucklehead just leaned over the rope and was like, "Good job, Brooksy!" And it was like one bit too far pushing him. And he just like spun around and was like, "You know what? Get the fuck." And he was like, he looked like he wanted to like choke the guy out. And then he finally like just sort of like the rage was sort of bubbling in his eyes, and he calmed down, and then he kind of waved a police officer over. And I remember the two PGA Tour like media people were like standing right there, and they were kind of like, oh my God, what's happening? And the police officer came and dealt with it, and I kept following them. And then so when we got back to the media center, I went up to this person and I was like, hey, look, like I'm asking in an official capacity as an ESPN reporter, like if the PGA Tour has any comment on that. And they were like, on what? And I was like, the fact that Bryson almost like fought a fan. And they were like, oh, sorry, we didn't see any of that. I was like, come on. Like they're all sitting right there. Give me a break. Like this is ridiculous. And so, I actually I think I did sort of a mature thing as a columnist in that moment, which was to write kind of like an empathetic piece about Bryson, which is like, you know what, like this has kind of gone on too far. Like this guy, he's not a terrible person by any means. He just really kind of wants to be liked. what if we just kind of like stepped back and were like, this is dumb. Like, this is just kind of grade schoolish dumb to think that this is a fun campaign. And I, where it was going to lead. Like, if Bryson punches that fan, does that make it like not cool then? Or is it like, oh, does it have to go even further than that? I was kind of just wrestling with the philosophical questions of it. But it was a good example of like, hey, if your subject is going away from like the cameras and you're still allowed to follow them, keep following them, because that might be the best part of the story.
I remember Wetzel once wrote a great column on like a Super Bowl with Tom Brady, but he was just about him walking to the bus, more or less, was like the main scene of it, kind of in the same vein. I think about that now that you talk, like, I don't want to speculate on worst case scenarios, but it's interesting, like, at how close you get in golf. And it's not antagonistic. You're not on the floor. There's not an adversarial usually that often, but like, you're not going to have an Artest melee at the Palace or Malice at the Palace kind of thing. But, when things get heated and you're a golfer, and Bryson, of course, like, fortunately here, like, had the outburst, but restraint to not actually take it physical. But it is, I mean, it sounds like when you describe the PGA Tour employees, they were like, oh my God, are we getting like our test moment at Caves Valley? Because he had been tortured. It had been torturous all day. And you wrote like more of the empathetic angle, like, holy shit, this guy's going through it.
Well, you realize, I think I wrote in the piece, like, that ropes are basically like just a polite suggestion. Like, there's nothing other than like the social contract that is stopping you from stepping over those ropes and fighting a fan. And I guess maybe the same is true at like an NBA game. Like, you could, have people sitting right on the court, and obviously that's part of what led to the Malice at the Palace stuff. But mostly, like with football and baseball, there is sort of a more clear dividing line, not just kind of a rope. And it's funny when you think about like these European tour events, and some of them don't even have ropes. It's just like people are just kind of supposed to stand kind of out of the way and understand that you don't go here, but you're okay to go here. And that, I don't know. It was definitely one of the more surreal, certainly golf things, but sports things really that I've ever covered.
That's really one of the best events I've ever covered. Quite honestly, I had zero expectations. Didn't even know if I'd like go up there Sunday, like I'd play with my kids or do some of that, and I did. And it's like one of the best I've ever covered. Where are you as a Baltimorean? Like, what's like the Caves Valley? What's the relationship with Baltimore? It's kind of a national club, right? I mean, it's pretty fancy.
Yeah. It's so like what I would say describe is that if you are old money and you're like, respectable society, Baltimore, you want to join BCC. Like, that's your kind of spot. It's got the East Course there. That's, a top 100 course. It's more like, I would say, here's a good example, is like Steve Bisciotti is a Ravens owner. He's a member of Caves. And I think likes to play there and likes the crowd there. And it's a little bit younger, a little bit more like newer money. And you and I played there in media day. You were teasing me. I was hitting them terrible on the range, and I was like, "Does anyone have a crank?"
Oh, that's right. You were wrenching. I was like,
went up and down the line and asked for a wrench. Yeah, because I was so dialed. But then I did hit him. I started hitting him really good.
You played your ass off that day. I remember that.
True, like Dumbo's feather situation. It was like, as soon as I found that crank, I hit it good.
It's fine for like a rec player. Yeah.
Honestly, if I had an unlimited amount of money, I don't know that I would join Caves. I don't know that would be my first pick of like a Baltimore course.
It's a great facility, but So I get the sense it's like a lot of people belong to a lot of clubs that also belong to Caves, and so I don't know. But that was a great BMW. I don't know if we'll get the same same stage or same play this week, but that was a good one.
I should pop in again and be like, Rory, why are the playoffs so easy? Like, what is the deal with like why are you guys shooting 30 under in the playoffs? Wouldn't it be better if it was like 2 under?
PJ, what do you remember about the 2021 PJ? Not that it was I think maybe we're overplaying it because we were there, but I don't think I can. I can't tell you how good this is exactly what you want the playoffs to be.
I remember being just incredulous that patty ice became a thing. And I'm happy that we've kind of put it past us. As you said, he hasn't really done much of anything since.
Well, he's been patty ice at all the team events. He would go to Whistling. He would go to the other,
I think you've slightly overblown that as you were getting on your soapbox for him the other night as well. But I'm happy to have Patrick Cantlay on the team if he wants to be. But as you guys said, Patrick Cantlay being the crowd favorite, the fan favorite, the hero is such an interesting, like, that's a good snapshot on just how much. I mean, it would be the complete opposite because Bryson's everybody's hero now, but Patrick Cantlay has not moved anybody in that direction anytime since.
It's crazy how much has changed. I mean, I'm talking like Bryson was. I don't know who have been like Sergio, who have been like true like villains in American, Monty or something like American sort of arenas, and it doesn't really happen in golf. But it was really intense that week. So you captured it great for your column for ESPN.com. KVV, thank you for joining us at this look back. Anything else you want to clear out from 21? I feel like we covered it. Any other memories?
The one thing I remember is just, calling into the Shuck and Start on the way home. And Andy and I were talking, waiting for you to resurface. It was still like a much younger era of podcasts. I was, didn't really know how things worked for you guys yet. If you just kind of nailed it in one take or if there was some editing. I assume there was some editing. And I believe I said in the discussion with Andy, well, like, I don't know, Andy, like, you should probably edit this out. And he was like, no, we're rolling. We're fine. And then you came in, like Leroy Jenkins. This is a disaster. This is an absolute disaster.
Bombing down the Beltway or whatever it was, 95. It's like, no, Andy's like, no, we're not editing shit. We don't edit anything, dear, and we kind of never have. So,
Andy did start the podcast with a pre-apology for how bad the show was, which I think that's one of few times, if ever, that's happened. But Andy had to feel the need to explain what was about to happen.
My goodness.
He did do a post-produced intro about like, this is going to be bad, but you've been warned. We haven't changed anything. I've told you.
I think honestly, probably once a month, someone will talk to me about that episode, like how much they remember it and loved it. So,
all right. Oh, God. Well, we are fortunate that you are a part of it. We're lucky to have you. Lucky to have you tonight here talking about your column from 21 and your reporting on it. So thank you for joining us, Kevin. We will talk to you again soon. Appreciate it.
Anytime.